Your forecast with meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees. It's feeling like fall now.
It finally is.
Yes, we're here.
But I will say I'm very glad that we are doing this Share the Warmth campaign because this morning it dropped to near freezing in many portions of the mountains. And with it being once again in the upper 30s tonight, it's just a good reminder that those folks see substantially colder temperatures than we do in Charlotte this time of year. So it's a reminder here that sometimes it's monetary donations and things in the moment that they need. So tools, especially in the morning, really even for portions here of our area. Blankets, heaters, warm clothes. So think about that. If you were needing all of those things when it's in the mid 40s, those folks there are in the upper 30s. And that is the forecast for tonight. Most spots for Banner Elk, Boone, Blowing Rock reaching that upper 30-degree mark. That means higher elevations will be even a little bit colder than that. For most of the foothills down toward the southern Piedmont, so pretty much I-40 and down south, everybody else in the mid 40s. Now, if you are one of those people who loves to open the windows, this is a good night to do so because we are going to see a slight warm up as we enter into the weekend. But at least for now, cooler, chilly, whatever word you want to use. It's not necessarily cold yet. We try to wait until temperatures are in the 30s to give it that marker, but it definitely feels colder than it has been. And that's because October started very, very warm and actually very, very humid. We now have high pressure moving in overhead, and that sinking motion of air will once again suppress any kind of storm activity. But what it is going to do as we enter into the weekend is change our wind direction, which will change how warm we're going to get. It will still be very, very dry, but as high pressure slips a little bit further southwest, we will see more of a southerly to southwesterly wind. If you're familiar with us talking about the blowtorch here during the summertime in the Carolinas, that's because all of that wind typically comes in from the south. Now this time of year, it's not quite as warm, quite as muggy, but it will allow for temperatures tomorrow to reach the upper 70s. We've only been in the lower 70s the past few days and actually get into the 80s on Sunday. So while it will be a great weekend, we have a lot of sunshine, again, still drier air. It will be warmer tomorrow as well as Sunday. So with many folks having a pretty busy Sunday, especially as the Panthers are back at home at Bank of America Stadium against the Falcons, and Roval 400 happening at Charlotte Motor Speedway. If you're going to be out and about in 80-degree temperatures, even in October, even with the air is dry, it will probably feel at least 10 degrees warmer when you're into the direct sunlight for long periods of time. So as you're tailgating and drinking certain beverages, let's make sure that we are staying hydrated, wearing the sunscreen, all of those things, because it will be vitally important, especially Sunday. It's not only the warmest day of this week, but probably one of the warmest days we'll see for quite some time. As we do reach the 80s, we're normally in the mid 70s this time of year. In the tropics, I did want to discuss this. First of all, we always have to, right, during hurricane season, but I think this is almost more important than ever this time of year because of Helene and Milton. This is allowed for a lot of people who have a lot of hurricane anxiety. I will tell you with the utmost confidence, we have no tropical system coming to the Carolinas over the next 7 to 10 days. We have a few areas that we'll be keeping an eye on, and one of those is this tropical wave that has already developed there way out in the eastern Atlantic, but it is essentially a nothing right now. It's just a tropical wave that does have about a 40% chance of development and becoming something tropical over the next 7 days. Elsewhere closer to home, we have a series of cold fronts coming in over the next week. You know why we're getting warmer this weekend. Another cold front comes in middle of next week and brings us some of those highs in the 60s and even some lows right here in Charlotte, getting dangerously close to the 30s.
All right. Thank you, Brittany. And again, you can see for yourself those colder temperatures that we're expecting. Brittany just talked about it. And that's why we need your help. We're collecting the sleeping bags, coats, hats, gloves, and socks. The QR code on your screen is going to take you to an Amazon wish list where you can get those items. And then we'll take them to the nonprofits in Western North Carolina, including the Boone Area Chamber of Commerce and Feeding Avery Families.